Welcome to our third quarter crime briefing for RPD for the year 2022. The coffee mug is here right now because it is not only our third quarter crime briefing, but it is also National Coffee with a Cop Day. So I'm hoping that you had an opportunity to participate and have a cup of coffee and have a couple words with a couple of employees in here today. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay? Overall, these are our crime numbers that we're going to be going through. Major crime for this quarter is up, as you can see, and that's the overall crime. That's all crime involved. However, we're looking at a 25% increase of crime from 2021 driven by property crimes. We're talking about stolen vehicles here, catalytic converters, and theft from motor vehicles as well, too. Okay, we're going to go into the violent crime here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm one stuck hit. For the third quarter, as you can see, we had a significant reduction from 29 to 12 in homicides last year. That work and the credit for that work go to the men and women of RPD, go to the leadership as well too. I'd like to thank Rick Edwards, Major Elamine Jones, as well as every precinct captain that we have that put in work for our summer initiative, which we'll talk about. If you attended any of our or the community conversations that we had, we went over these numbers precinct by precinct as well as overall. So from June 30th on to September 9th, September 5th, we actually had a summer initiative that we were working specifically on reducing violent crime. Year to date, as you can see, our homicides are down from 60 to 43 from last year. Next slide. Some number that is on everyone's mind when we start to talk about firearm and violent crime concerning firearms. As you can see, for the quarter, firearms, homicide by firearms went down from 23 to 10. Okay. Let's see here. That's a difference of 56%, by the way. The year-to-date, homicide by firearms is down 22%. That's a difference of 11. Okay, next slide. Also, sexual assault or rapes are down by 7. That is a difference of 64% for the quarter. And for the year, it's down by 4. That is a difference of 11% as well. Robberies for the quarter are up. It's up by 5%. That's a slight increase. That's a difference of 4 robberies this period compared to the third quarter last year. For the year, robberies are down 24 by a difference of 24. That's about a 10% difference in robberies going down as well too. So that's pretty good over the 5-year period. As you can see, there is a steady trend for the year, for the last 5 years of our robberies headed down. Okay, aggravated assaults are up. Our aggravated assaults are up an additional 29 for the quarter. That's a 17% increase. This includes non-fatal shootings. 48% aggravated assaults have been committed using firearms just this quarter alone. Year to date, we're up with aggravated assaults of 63. That's a 13% increase. Next one. And you guys, thank you for joining us today. You've sent us a lot of questions about shootings involving juveniles here, and we've included this slide here. For this year, we've had 3 fatal shootings involving juveniles. That's down 2 from last year at this time as well. Okay, and these are the non-fatal shootings involving juveniles. It's a difference of about 15 for the non-fatal shootings for the year. And then for the quarter as well, non-fatal, well, hold on, let's go back before I go that. I just want to say, because of all the questions we've received about juveniles being victims of gun violence, although these numbers show an improvement, any one of our kids being shot or even being shot at or even being killed with gun violence makes no sense whatsoever. It takes away from the entirety of the community. And any father in here will know that that will just touch your soul, and any parent in here knows that that is something that we just can't stand. Although these numbers are one thing, but in reality, we have to do everything that we can to protect our children so that our children can actually go to the store, go to the school, do whatever they can just to be kids so that they can continue on with their lives just like everyone else in here had the opportunity to do. It is our duty as a society and then as a culture and as a city to make sure that every child has that opportunity. So I know we'll have some questions about that later on, but I think that was just a good opportunity to just pause and state here that these are numbers. But behind these numbers, these are our children. These are our kids. These are our babies. Okay? All right, next slide. Non-fatal shootings overall for the quarter were up by 18. That's a difference of 30%. And non-fatal shootings, for everyone so that you know, is a subset of aggravated assaults on a whole. Non-fatal shootings for year to date is up by 17. That's a 10% increase. Overall violent crime at the end of this quarter was up by 9. That's a 3% increase, although we continue to show and implement strategies that are helping to push our violent crime down. Violent crime for the year is a 2% increase overall. That's a difference of 18 at the end of the quarter. Okay? At the end of the quarter, thank you, year to date. Arson for the quarter, it's an increase of 13%. I think that number is correct, either 13 or 11%. I have to look at my math to make sure, but a difference of 1. It's up. Year to date, arsons are up by difference of 29%. That is a big number. That's 153% increase over the year. The driving force for that night, if you've attended the other briefings that we had a couple juveniles who were somewhat of a firebug that we had to identify and make some addressing to, and making sure that we can make a difference of those going down as well too. And I think we did that. As you can see, it kind of stabilized if you look at the numbers per the third quarter. Okay, next. Burglary. Our burglaries are up by 62. That's a 33% increase. And a lot of the reasons for that for the quarter and not also for the year, we'll go to the year before I give an explanation or talk about it. It's up 133 for the year. That's a 25% increase. Talking to the captains about it, this is a condition of us going back to work. We're seeing a lot of burglaries now during the day. People being back at work, people are breaking into people's homes while they're not there. As you can see, we had a pretty significant decrease as we go down. As you can see, 2020 hits and it starts to go down. Last year it was really low. Most of us were home during the day. What can we do about this? We can actually be good neighbors. We can actually take a look out, make sure if you're at home during the day, if you were one of the people who actually work from home, maybe set your desk up to where you can look out the window, see your neighbor's house. You see that person that doesn't look like a delivery driver that's snooping around someone's house, pick up the phone, see something, say something, call 911. Just get back to those old habits that we used to do before. Okay, next. Larceny. Larcenies are up overall by 360. That's a 23% increase. Our larcenies are driven by the numbers of motor vehicle theft, parts, catalytic converter thefts from buildings, lawnmowers, and also package thefts as well too. For the year, this trend continues. This is what's pushing our crime overall here in Richmond, Virginia, is the larceny category. We have an increase so far this year of 1,151. That's a 29% increase of last year. What is very interesting is that 406 of these involve theft of a firearm. Theft from a firearm. We have stood before you and we continue to push this and could push this, and I would ask you to help push this as well with your neighbors, that it is important that you secure your firearm. Leaving your firearm in a car, in a console, is not where you want to leave your car. This is how guns get into the hands of kids. This is how guns get into the hands of criminals, and that's not what we want. But this is something that is completely controllable. Do not secure your firearm in your car. Lock it up. Be a responsible gun owner as well, too. We ask you to do that. Lock your cars. Also, don't keep valuables in your cars. Do not leave things of value out in plain sight. Make sure you secure them, lock them away. Lock your windows and doors. Check your home and outdoor gates, your windows and locks. And then also, that was something that we see that is very frustrating, that home deliveries are just something that's part of our culture right now, that we see a lot of package thefts that are occurring. A lot of apartment complexes and building with multifamilies in it have taken precautions and actually have package rooms that are secured to keep packages from being stolen there. But we see a lot of what we refer to as porch pirates just coming along, taking packages off people's porches. How can we do that? You could either have the package delivered when you're home, have it sent to the neighbor next door who actually is at home, have it sent to work, actually have it delivered where you can pick it up at a hub. These are some of the things that you can do to help make sure that your package gets there and that you don't have to call up and they have to search for it as well too. Okay, next one. Another category here, as you can see, catalytic converters. This is a trend that we see all over America right now. So year to date, 566. We're on pace right now to exceed last year's count. Nationwide, catalytic converters are being stolen. Precious metals are what they're looking for. There's a lot of sources that they go to. They can go to scrap yards, they can go to other sites, they can also be taken out of state. This trend increased in 2020 with COVID. People were out of work, but they still haven't returned. So those who still haven't returned, we've got all we can do to make our community safe is actually to, be cognizant and be aware of what's going on around you. And the room is pretty quiet right now, but there's something that's, there's a sound that we want people to put into your memory banks that it could be very useful at some time. So can we play that? It's kind of low. That's not white noise. Okay, it's very low. It's very faint. But what you actually hear is the sound of a saw. Okay, this is what takes place. Yeah, that sound belongs on a construction site. Something that you should not hear in the middle of the night. And what that sound means in the middle of the night is that someone, thank you, someone has more than likely slid up under a car when no one is watching, when the car is not being watched or being observed, and when the car is actually cool, and they're using that saw within a few seconds to actually relieve you of your catalytic converter. So even though you may not see a pair of legs sticking from up under a car, you very well may hear that sound in the middle of the night, and that's when you should call 911. We've made some notable arrests of some catalytic converter thieves and thefts. This one was made on September 5th. A resident heard just that noise and made a call. Calls the police, and we find this gentleman up under a vehicle, cutting a catalytic converter from under a vehicle with one of those electric saws right now. He was arrested for felony possession of burglary tools, destruction of private property, attempted grand larceny, and felony capers out of Richmond. This is Mr. Tyler, I think he's Tyler, T-A-Y. And I believe that the officers made a very good arrest with this right here. I'm not sure. I think prosecution is still pending for him as well too. So we can make some differences with these catalytic converter thefts if we listen out for sounds and listen out for each other. Next one, these are catalytic converter thefts that we've been talking about. This is the locations where it's been taking place. As you can see, there's not any area of Richmond that is immune to this. These thieves have vehicles, they have bikes, they have whatever, and they will go wherever they can. So this is a call for all Richmonders to actually be on the lookout for these type of things. If you see something, say something. This is what you can do. That's the biggest thing you can do. Lock your cars, lock your windows, lock your doors as well. Okay? Motor vehicle thefts. Here we go. There's an 18% increase from this period last year for the quarter. This is also tied into vehicles being victimized. One thing that you can do is keep control of your keys. Make sure that you don't leave a copy of your key in the car, because as you can tell, you will tell that cars being broken into, people will raffle through, they find your keys, they will use it. But the other thing that you can do is a pretty simple thing. Whenever you get to a gas station or a store, don't leave your car running. Take your keys with you. We've seen quite a few vehicles where people leave them running at the store just to run in to get something real quick, come back and the vehicle is gone as well too. Completely preventable if you just control your keys. As you can see, there's a 28% increase of motor vehicle theft for the year. Overall, property crime is up this year, and this is what is pushing our crime for the year so far. Okay, it's up by 23%. For property crime, which includes those motor vehicle thefts we just talked about, the accessories, the numbers are driven by vehicle thefts, theft from cars, catalytic converters, and everything. For the year, we have those numbers as well too, up 29%. Okay. These are some of the efforts that we had in the third quarter. This is National Vehicle Theft Prevention Week. That is our Major Rick Edwards right there, in which he helped lead this effort from across the state as well. It's a multi-jurisdictional partnership during that month of July, recognizing National Vehicle Prevention Month. To drive awareness, it's included a media coverage. Thank you all for being there as well. Outreach on social media and events across Richmond, Henrico, Chesterfield, Hanover, the state, and including Virginia State Police were part of it. The Drive Smart RVA and the Virginia State Corporate Commission. All right. We're also part of the Virginia State Police HEAT program, community safety. You can report information and actually earn a reward through Virginia State program called HEAT, Help Eliminate Auto Theft, which offers up to $25,000 reward for information that leads to the arrest of suspects involved with vehicle theft or theft of vehicle parts. So this is, like I said earlier, it's a problem with catalytic converters across the country, but also the state is also taking efforts to actually curb this as well too. Stolen firearms, as we can see for the third quarter. We've had 218 stolen firearms compared to last year. That is a number that we want to see go the other way too. Stolen firearms from vehicles, what I was just talking about. You see that number going in the wrong direction. We need to do everything that we can to reverse that number. Takeaways for this: don't store your guns in your cars. Protect your guns. Take them inside. Store them in properly as they should do. Okay. Our violent crime so far efforts of 2022. We still have Operation Red Ball. It's day 187 days, I believe we've had of Red Ball right now. Taking a look at the number of things that we've had felony warrants 204, arrests, misdemeanor 149, warrants 99, and so far the operation has taken 304 guns off the street. Okay. Summer gun violence reduction, like I said, we spoke about this earlier and gave a great deal of credit to the officers because they deserve it all. But we have to remember that our efforts are just not numbers behind the badge. We were just speaking about that earlier. Behind every number there is a life, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father. This initiative was about saving lives and about preventing violence that can change someone and change a family forever. These are just some of the faces that we have lost to gun violence in the past. The Summer Gun Initiative started, like I said, on June 1st, went through just September 5th. We focused on problem solving, visibility, community collaboration. Overall, we've looked at the data. What we did to define our approach, we were looking at the most violent areas. We realized that over the last 5 years, 26% of our violent crime occurred on 2% of the land mass in Richmond, Virginia. And that's where we actually targeted those areas for increased presence of police officers, for our increased pop-up events, and I believe it helped made a very good significant in the reduction of violent crime that we saw during that time period as well too. Okay, as we can see, these are some of the numbers from our Summer Gun Violence Reduction Initiative. Homicides down 54%, violent crime now down to 3%. Non-fatal shootings did go up about from 20 to 26%, but we did see some success in addressing these violent crimes that are taking place. Notable arrests and seizures, that here we are right here, Mr. Hall. We were able to take 300 pounds of marijuana, narcotics off of him, $15,000 in cash, firearms seized right here. This was happened on July 2nd. Okay. Also here we have Mr. Birdie as well too. Notable arrests and seizures, as you can tell. Everything that he has here, he was resulted in 4 arrests, which included he was a wanted felon, and he had 16 ounces or what could be about 2 cups of fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, multiple handguns, and an assault rifle was seized. Next as well too. Result of the Summer Gun Violence Initiative in August. Well, this is also the same arrest here. This is some more of the same pictures here. Okay. This is also, it wasn't also about the enforcement aspect of what we were doing. We were looking to get the community's buy-in and believe that we got it. These are some of our pop-up events that have become very, very popular. As we speak to people in the community, they want more of these pop-up events. Here's a list of all the partners who actually came out and joined us with that. It's not an exhaustive list of our partners, but we could not have done summer pop-ups without the ones that we see here and without everyone. And we thanked everyone from the city and from federal agencies and from around the city for their efforts there. We had fun. We had services. We went to Mosby, Gilpin, Southwood. We had a good time. We hosted 3 pop-up events we brought ice cream. We brought activities for the kids and the families. We were joined by all the agencies that we saw listed there as well, too. Also, during this period, we saw our gun buyback, and it was a success. We believe 474 guns taken off the street or given up is a big success out of 160 participants. I think that the logistics of that speak for itself because we had to shut it down early because we ran out of gift cards. I think that's a win for the city. That is a win for the city. We also started our co-responder team was launched in the month of August. This is not a CMPD-led, but a RPD-led initiative, but it is an initiative in which we are a big part of. The Marcus Alert launched in August. Richmond Behavioral Health Specialists joined RPD in the Department of Emergency Communications when responding to mental health emergencies. August 15th, September 30th, it was a 4-day operation. Our team currently is in operation, and 58 calls were answered. Only one arrest came out of those. Non-TDOs, 48 were solved by the unit, offering the citizens options and support when it's most needed. And for those understanding Marcus Alert, this is just one half of it as well, too. With DEC, a lot of the calls that come in don't require a person on the scene, but they are actually transferred to mental health professionals that can help as well, too. Community engagement and public safety. To have the safety, you have to have the community engagement, and community policing is about just that, building relationships with the community. We believe we connect with the community. Our connection in the community is stronger. Here are some of our involvement activities. National Night Out, for those of you who joined us and came around, was a big success. We had 20 locations that we hit on August 2nd, and the communities and the precincts, and we had a great time with all the residents who were really looking forward to seeing us as well, too. We're involved in the community. This is the National Railroad Safety Week at Carver School. We also were partnered with the Metro Richmond Flying Squad and the Richmond Fire Department in memory of those who lost their lives on September 11th as well. Our 125th recruit class climbed stairs as well. 135 meetings took place in this quarter. We did outreach events, festivals, district meetings, neighborhood associations, civics associations, and community meetings as well. We were empowering our youth throughout this summer. It was great activities with our Powell Summer Camp through sports, basketball, swimming, boxing, plus social outings and teaching skills and spending time with officers. This is 8-year-old Caleb, pictured above. He has been part of Powell for 2 years. He said this about Powell: I learned to love swimming more. I didn't know I could swim in the deep end until a year ago, but I learned it's possible. Being here today made me feel like Aquaman, but it is a process. I'm learning, and learning is everything. I love what I've learned at Powell this year. Okay. This is also something that is a huge success. I believe we're in our second iteration of it. This is empowering our youth. This is RVA cooks. This is Chef Sammy as well. And officers were working weekly with, these are at-risk youth, teaching them culinary skills as well as learning activities, social, emotional skills, conflict resolution. RVA Cook recently graduated his first class of students, returning as mentors to the class. Others received job placements thanks to our partners at Bond Secures. The second season of RPA Cook is underway thanks to the support of the DEA pilot program developed by RPD and Community Cares Unit. Prepares at-youth risk to enter the culinary field and job prep and placement. 8-week program, culinary skills were learned, job preparation, and job placement. And that's probably a pretty good overview, but to understand that some of these young men and women walked straight out of juvie into this program and to the success that we saw on the other end is just nothing short of amazing. Okay. Family reward here. We have a family reward. $10,000 reward was announced by the families of these 2 homicide victims, Jermarlo Butler and Mrs. Simmons. Double homicide from Fairfield Avenue and North 25th Strip to appeal to to the public's assistance in helping their family lead, to help detectives lead, to announce this award on the conviction of the case. They met the media near the shooting location in Fairfield Court neighborhood to appeal for the public's assistance. And I think it's a good idea that we actually reiterate that their award is there for them. We also had our community conversations. We had 4 in person and actually 1 that was virtual. We consider them to be all a success. We had great questions that were answered by all. Everyone's question was actually received and answered. Feedback was given. There was a deep appreciation from the residents. We heard about concerns that they had about their area. We heard about gun violence, staffing issues, community involvement, railway safety, drugs, and this is just the beginning of the conversations. Please get to know your precinct leadership. Reach out to them if you have any concerns, but we believe that this is an initiative that is just the beginning, and hopefully that it will spread throughout the rest of the city. If you attended any of these, you know that a lot of the questions that came up, many questions just had nothing to do with the police. They had questions about how the city is running and how they could actually participate in other things in the city. Okay. Another officer recognition here. They rescued a 7-year-old woman from an apartment fire. Officers were able to breach the door and safely remove the female and alert other residents to evacuation. These 2 officers here, Officer Owen and Chastain, actually entered an apartment in which this lady was actually inside this fire. This is actually photos taken from their body-worn camera. This is when they kicked the door and breached the door. This is where she was. She was inside this residence. She was inside and behind this door. And officers were able to actually risk their own lives to actually get to her and pull her to safety as well, too. They, right now we can say it's probably pretty fair chance and pretty sure they will receive the life-saving award at our award ceremony as well, too. But that's body-worn camera footage. That is exactly what the officers were facing, and they showed a great extreme heroism as well, too. Okay. Recruitment, we continue to do efforts in recruiting, and this is to make sure that we keep this up here. We have an increase in pay. We have positions that are available. It's a noble profession, and we want everyone to know that RPD is hiring and that to give us a call. And anyone who knows anyone that would look very good in this uniform and has that mentality of what you think a police officer should do, by all means, give us a call so we can do some recruiting as well, too. Also, during our community conversations, next slide, we had the Citizens Academy, and a lot of questions about the Citizens Academy. A lot of people wanting to actually participate in our Citizens Academy. It's a great opportunity to get involved and to play a part in the community, learn more about RPD, and learn how you can take an active role. Free to attend, need to be able to commit to at least 80% of the sessions. Our next one starts very soon, October 11th, and it will be meeting every Tuesday at 6 p.m. And here's the information in which you can actually contact if you have an interest in our Citizens Academy. And if you can't make this one, I'm pretty sure we can put you on the waiting list for the next one as well, too. Here's ways that you can actually stay in touch and help follow us on social media. We have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube accounts as well. You can stay in touch to learn more about RPD in your community. Okay, and that is our third quarter crime briefing. Okay. And so I'll take some questions about our third quarter crime. Yeah. Jen.
Thank you. Just 2 questions I have. One, just asking if there's any update on the 3 teens who have been shot over the course of the month here in Richmond, in terms of any arrests or any progress being made on those cases. And then bigger picture, I think folks are just frustrated with the number of youth that are being shot here in Richmond. What more can be done? I know elected officials say police need to do more. Police say we need to hear from the community more. Kind of, what's the solution here?
Yes and yes. We need to do everything that we can as the police, and I thank Samuel Brown here for being here today. He is one of the coordinators of that address gun violence as well in the city, and he is doing a lot of things on that end. When it comes down to the youths that were recently shot, and making sure I'm understanding your question, how are they doing? I think they're out of danger. You know, it doesn't mean that the gunshots themselves won't alter their lives forever, but I don't believe that they're in any danger of dying. The cases are progressing. I was just given an update on all 3, and to make sure I don't interfere with those cases, I won't make much mention of it right now, but there have been progress, significant progress in some of them as well too. But if we go back, what happens to actually prevent this type of stuff? What can we do? parents can take an active role in their kids' lives. And this is something that I've said, this is something I did as a parent. Getting on someone's social media page, Facebook page as a parent, having phone checks to see what's on those pages, to see what they're saying, see what they're hiding. It's not a bad idea, and especially if you own that phone. Kids are who they say they are, even though it may be grandiose and exaggerated online, but to them, kids are who they say they are online, and that is something that a parent should be aware of. Who are you trying to be? So that they can make any kind of corrective action as well too. Get to know your kids' friends, okay? At school, at home, at church, or wherever. That will tell you a great deal about what is influencing your child. And also check their room too. There have been instances where bad things have happened to kids, and when a parent checks a room, they find guns or bullets and things in their room that they had no idea. So those are the things that we can do. We can support our school system as well too. If you remember, at one time there were a lot of youth being shot during COVID and things of that nature, but they were able to actually settle down a little bit when actually school kicks in. So supporting your schools and supporting those mentors and quasi parents that are in school, it's very important too. So did I answer your question? I know I just went on the tirade.
Yeah, I just follow up to, I know 15-year-old case, we know she was caught in crossfire, but on the two more recent cases, do you have any details? Were those kids being targeted?
Yeah, the 15-year-old, yeah, she passed away. But were they being targeted?
The most two recent
The most two
ones.
recent ones. Try not to give up too much of the case because they're making great progress with it. It's possible that they were. We don't think it was not random. It was not random.
Thank you.
Okay.
On recruitment, how many officers is the RPD currently down, and
153.
and you're trying to hire for all those positions? Those are
Most definitely. Yeah.
So is that impacting the crime numbers you're seeing at all? Like what if any impact do you think that is?
Well, if we had more people, there are more things that we could do. But I think what's impacting the crime numbers, especially during our summer initiative, where you actually saw the decreases in the effect of officers going out there is the officers who are here and who are dedicated. But yeah, if we had more people, we could definitely do more.
And you're able to pay more now, have some other benefits. What barriers are you still seeing to filling those positions?
Same barriers that we're seeing across in the profession. It's just getting people to realize that this is a cool job and to come in and take the job. Social media can't fight Facebook, but one bad thing is repeated over and over and over and over again. But heroes and the great things that officers do, like what you saw with Officer Owens and there, you see that a few times and it goes away. But that is just incredible what they did and the kind of difference that they made in that woman's life. Okay, you don't see that much. So that's what we're fighting, And kids, you gotta realize this is a great job that you can make a huge difference in someone's life, not just on one occasion, but every day. I've always said it, cops make the extraordinary look ordinary. And that's what we have to do. We have to keep fighting that. You here and there.
Is there an update on when we could see those violence interrupters actually in the community?
We hope to do a separate stand-up to introduce you to our violence interrupters and their supervisor. I think there will be a lot of questions surrounding them, and I think there are other partners in the community who would like to stand with them. So yeah, we will be introducing them very soon to the community. Yeah.
On the topic of your community conversations that you've been having, I'm curious, what did you find the most beneficial to facilitating and having these discussions? As you said, it's not the start of the end of it. This is kind of the beginning of something that you might do regularly. And of course, there's also been criticism about the format of those conversations. Given the opportunity to do them again, is there something that you would change or to give them?
Okay, your first part was what I found beneficial, which is kind of not fair because I thought so much of it went great. The format of the questions it worked because everyone had an opportunity to actually have their question answered, and as a part to someone with a very large personality taking over the room. And I think that was a great, huge benefit. And we did get feedback from that on both sides. Going forward, will we do that again? Yeah, I think that would be a very good option moving forward, especially when you can come and you know that your question will be answered. One of the big benefits that I think that was there was Having our command staff there, our captains, our lieutenants over that area, because it wasn't just about me. They were actually able to stand up to say, this is the great work that our people have done. But they were also there to actually hear firsthand the concerns that the community had of what was going on in their areas, so that they can actually address that together. Another benefit was just actually being out in the community and actually being able to interact with them face to face. So I'm saying your question's not fair, but it's just a lot that I found to be beneficial from that. I can't say that one thing was a bigger benefit than anything else. Okay. Yes.
I wanted to ask about the Civilian Review Board. That's coming up on Monday with some significant amendments. Have you looked at those amendments, and how do you think that'll impact your ability to do your job?
I think I don't know the amendments and what's going before city council, but I do believe that a Civilian Review Board will be very beneficial in actually building trust and legitimacy within the police department. I think it's important that, we can actually have someone take a look to say, hey, this is what happened, this is what we told you was happening, and there it is. That's really the biggest benefit of a Civilian Review Board, that someone can actually look at it and get beyond that personnel side of things, to be able to look at that investigation and say, very good investigation, and these are the actions that took place, and it's transparency. So, yeah.
Piggybacking off of the officer vacancies, how long do you expect it to take to fill all the positions that need to be filled? And are you partnering with any surrounding agencies or the state to try and boost the force?
To answer the second part of your question first, is that no, we're not partnering with them, although we are not partner with them to actually boost our efforts. That is the only one time you can say that we're kind of in competition with each other, because we're actually trying to pull from the same pool of candidates here in the area. And so what you see a lot of our efforts in recruiting is outside of Richmond. We need to go outside of Richmond, where the benefits and the attractions of Richmond can actually bring people in more. And your first part of your question was about?
How long do you think it'll take to fill those?
We don't know. It'll probably take years, to be honest. Even if we had a class of 50, we would still have attrition. We would still have to get them through training, and then we have to get them trained up in the field and then actually cut loose. So it's unlike any other job around where there is a period of lag there because of training. But that training is very important.
Can you speak to I understand that somewhere in the order of like 25 community groups have come to RPD asking to investigate the collapse of the Enrichment Foundation and money that's been missing. And as I understand it, they've been told that y'all don't feel like you can investigate or don't see any crime has been committed.
We have not received, to my knowledge or anything, of any complaints about that at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there have been conversations, and I've told my precinct captains that if you see a complaint or a report that comes across where enrichment is spoken of or listed as a suspect or an offender, then let us know. But I don't have anything as of yet.
And if I could ask one more question about the crime stats, and if I'm misunderstanding things, I apologize, but I think last year it was violent crime was down, but homicides were up, and it looks like year to date we're looking at homicides are up, but violent crime homicides are down, but it's reversed. Am I right there? And if so, why?
Okay, we'll have to go back and look at that afterwards. And please, and maybe we can do something about the format. I know it's probably been a little death by PowerPoint, okay? So we'll do what we can to start to condense some of this knowledge for you in the future, but I'll be happy to take a look at it and we'll answer your question, okay? So it could be that, so what could be causing something like that? It could be a number of factors, because that's your question. If it is reversed, then why is it reversed?
Yeah, if homicides are down, but violent crime is up, I'm just wondering why.
I think they're both down.
They're both down.
Yeah, well, yeah, violent crime is going down.
Year to date or quarter?
That's non-fatals.
I regret asking this question.
There's a lot of numbers coming at you.
And I was asking specifically about year to date, if that's helpful.
Okay. So a difference of 18 there. Violent crime and homicides are down as well, too. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, please help yourself to some coffee. Okay. Did you have something?